Hey everybody! So welcome to the Live Chat Book Club. Tonight we are talking about The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is kind of like a cool, Criminal Minds kind of type
like a
deal.
thriller.
Yeah, and with a serial killer aspect and kind of them getting together and solving these crimes just really strongly reminds me of CSI. I think it even says that on here somewhere. But it's very cool. And I think we're going to go down the line like we usually do and say a little bit of what we're rating it and why we're rating it that way. And Megan is on my left, so.
Oh, man. I'm scared now. So this book, I have a love-hate relationship with. I think on Goodreads I gave it 4. I think that's rounding up. I think it's a 3.5 for me. There was a lot of suspension of disbelief that I really struggled with in several parts of the book, but the ending and the second person and stuff, I'm definitely interested in trying out the second book.
And Kelly?
I gave it 4 stars. Hard to say exactly why, because I read the first book a while ago. But I really, really enjoyed the first book, and I've read the next 2 so far as well. And for me, it was just a very nice change of pace. That I read mostly fantasy, but this was contemporary without being too contemporary. So it was, I don't know. I liked the darkness of it, even though I'm me and I don't like scary things. But I really I love Criminal Minds, and so this was just kind of a perfect read for me. So I liked it.
And Emma.
I am also giving it 4 stars. It's definitely not something I think I would have picked up on my own if it hadn't been a book club book. But like Kelly said, it was a good break from other kinds of books. It was just an enjoyable refreshing. I'm gonna read something different. And I definitely my boss refers to books like this as candy books because she works in education. So she's all about books that you can teach in a school, but then also the candy books that you can recommend to kids so that they can enjoy reading. And this is definitely one of those. It was just really fun to read. So I was able to dismiss kind of that suspension of disbelief that Megan talked about, and I guess later we can talk about love triangles. I was okay with it because I was yeah, it's just a fun book. I don't care.
For me, I think it would have to be 3. I was leaning towards a 4, but I had to bump off a star because honestly, the main character really rubbed me the wrong way. I can't even remember why. I think it was particularly at the beginning that I was irritated with her kind of inner dialogue, and then as I got into the actual story, and because I'm really fascinated with same thing with Criminal Minds and serial killer signatures, all that stuff fascinates me, so this book actually really hooked me in and did fascinate me. But I also found myself annoyed with the love triangle because I was really get back to the murders. I'm much more curious. I want to hear about serial killers more than kissing, honestly. And it just felt a little heavy on the, oh no, he wants me, oh no, he wants me. And I was a little irritated by that. So that's probably why I'm bumping off the 1 star, but I will read the book too. So everything I'm complaining about is a little irrelevant. But I'll read the rest of the series.
Yeah, I think it's one of those books where there are things to complain about with it. I did find the main character's voice annoying at the very beginning, but then once I got into the story, I stopped noticing it. But at the beginning, I was oh, is this going to be an annoying book to read because of her? But I got past it. But also, the love triangle can be really annoying, but because it's just a fun book, you still want to keep reading them because you're I enjoyed it, even though there were
the plot
the love triangle definitely felt kind of manufactured.
If I'm remembering
commercial YA book, it's got to have the love triangle.
I think that clears up in the later books. As far as I'm remembering, she's solidly with one or the other.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you who off the top of my head, but
that's one of the things I'm hoping gets resolved is just all of the characterization. The thing that bugged me the most was that I felt no one had a particularly strong personality. And so it's why do you even like Cassie? What is she doing to make you like her? Aside from being new.
I didn't like Cassie, but I did like the one guy, Dean? Yeah, it was Dean, who was kind of more quiet, right? And then Michael was all...
Yeah. And to be fair, if you existed in a world with 5 other humans and that's it, a new girl would be enough to make you like them.
That's true. Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, like, I totally found it believable that, like, unlike in, I don't know, there's like Twilight where it's like a whole school of people and she's the new girl and all of a sudden everyone's in love with her. But with this, yeah, it's like literally like 4 teenagers living together and they get a new girl in the mix and everyone's in love with her.
I think part of what's like about it too, though, is that at the very beginning she's like, I'm so plain looking. I'm not pretty like my mom. I'm like, shut up! I know they're all gonna love you. That's how it always
is. I think that was one of the things that bothered me about her actual voice was that there was a lot that was coming off like, what do they call that? Complain bragging or like humble bragging or whatever. Yeah. Like there was a lot that came off kind of like, I don't know. Like that's what bothered me. I think is that she was like a little. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like her. Just, you know, the whole like, oh, I'm so plain, but everyone loves me thing, which is what I got a little. She never actually said that. She never actually came out and said that. But that was a little bit of the vibe I was getting. And then I really didn't like Michael. Out of the two boys, he annoyed me because I feel like he was trying. I feel like the author was trying to make him kind of like. Or he was trying to be like this mysterious guy or whatever, but it wasn't coming off authentically. Like, oh, I'm always gonna pretend that I don't have like feelings or like so that you can't read me or whatever. And I'm like, it could have been a fun game, and I get what the author was going for, but I wasn't digging it. Whereas I really like Dean because I found him to be more realistic, and I found his backstory to be very interesting. And I know that like that's an actual backstory. Yeah. Well, it's an actual thing that's happened. Like I've read, you know, there's going to be spoilers just so people know if you haven't read this book. I'm about to spoil a little bit, but because I've read biographies of people that actually grew up with a serial killer parent, usually their father, but and have been witness to horrible things, which is really interesting because there's a whole lot of therapy they have to go through later. So I was very interested by his backstory. So I liked him.
Yeah. I will say too, one of the things I did really like about the love triangle was that there wasn't as much agonizing as I was expecting. Like she gets caught making out with Michael and she's like, well, I'm not going to apologize. I like him too.
Yeah. Yeah, I really
liked that.
I really liked that scene where, like she's like, I'm not going to step away from him because I don't want to, like, hurt him and be like, oh, now that someone's seen us, I'm ashamed of it. You know, that she, like, owned up to it. She's like, yeah, I guess them. Yeah.
I did like that. I found it. I found it frustrating though that not frustrating but more unrealistic that both of the guys were like, well, I'll wait for you to decide. Where I'm like, guys have pride and ego too. There's no guy that I know that would stand around
those two in comparison to one another. Like
I'm like, I know there's no guy that I know that would be like, sure, I know you're torn between the two of us and you're like Frenching both of us. Like just take your time. I'll just chill here and pine after you. No. They're going to be like, you make up your mind. If you don't like me, then screw you. I'm off to kiss that other girl.
I do like that at the end that Michael was like, I'm not going to kiss you again until you've decided that I'm what you want. Like he was like, you're not going to just like string me along for forever. He's like, the next time you kiss me, it's going to be because you want to be with me.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like, we're not gonna keep on this like you kissing each of us every other day thing. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then he was like, I understand there are more things going on, and you're like still worried about like your mom and everything. So I'm just gonna back off and let me know when you figured it out. So
I'm curious what your guys is because I know two of you now said that you had to suspend your disbelief. What in particular about?
Oh, so many things.
Oh, a bunch of things. Like the serial killer aspect, or
not the serial. I felt like the serial killer parts were super well done. Cool. That was the number one reason why I loved the book. I felt like I had to suspend my disbelief initially that she would get recruited to this program so quickly and easily. Like I almost felt like they should have just started on her day of starting there because I just
where was her psych evaluation? There was no psych evaluation. I feel like
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're good at profiling. You're in.
Yeah. And it helped a little bit that at the end it was like, oh, well, she was purposefully pulled in. Yeah. But at the beginning you don't know that. So it's like, why is this happening? Yeah. And then
I think that's why the other one. Oh, sorry. I was just saying, like, on that note, I think that's why I mentioned that the pacing seemed off to me because I think it did all happen so fast. And then even when she gets into the program and she's in the building with all of them, it seems to go really fast. Yeah. Like it's a short book, and to me, it needed to be longer, personally.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a couple other things. The one really, really big one I remember was at the end, Michael gets shot 5 times. She says she sees his entrails on the ground, and he's alive. Like, really?
Oh.
That's nice. That's handy.
I thought it was going to be weird if he was dead because it specifically says he's shot in like the shoulder and the leg, and so I was like, that's not going to kill him unless there's blood loss. So yeah, so I don't know. I did think it was weird when it said entrails because I was like, where are entrails coming from if you're shot in the leg and the shoulder?
I didn't notice the entrails thing.
I didn't remember the leg and the shoulder. I just remembered she saw like his body parts on the ground. I was like,
no, she said his insides leaking out. So
yeah, so I guess she just means
blood.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's supposed to be.
It's a poor description.
Oh, that's a weird
blood.
way of saying it.
Yeah, it's a poor description of it. Yeah.
Maybe it was meant to be like a false. Whatever.
Because I remember when it said like he was shot in like the shoulder and the leg, and then like it kept going on, and I was like, this is gonna be really weird if he like somehow dies from this. Like, make it a fatal shot if he's gonna die. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also had to suspend it a little bit that she would miss something vital.
Yeah.
You shot him a bunch of times, and you only got him in the shoulder and the leg, and you're in the FBI.
He's the main character. I can't
killer.
shoot him anywhere important.
Yeah, that's true. Did
I'm
you guys
happy
see it
he's
coming
alive
at all?
overall, but...
Did you guys see it coming? Like what it was going to be?
I didn't.
No,
I didn't.
But I never do. So.
At first I thought it was Briggs because I was pretty sure from the start that it was someone who was in there with her. Because I just didn't see how it could be some random character.
I figured from the beginning it was going to be somebody that we knew. And it wasn't going to be that random guy that talked to her at the Potomac. That was too obvious.
Yeah. And that's when I switched, was when you find out that Briggs is a hunter, and I was like, well, it's not him.
Yeah.
That's a really obvious clue if it's him. And so that's when I jumped to Lacey.
I think I suspected everyone except for Lacey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even after she called and was telling her to get away?
No, I somehow did not.
I was like, what did you do?
I didn't suspect it either. Even when she called, I didn't clue in.
Like, I had a little while.
Okay. I was just saying, statistically, I'm sorry, but statistically, it's usually a dude.
Yeah.
But it's just a fact.
See, with the lipstick, with the whole lipstick thing, I was like, well, maybe it's Leah. And then And then like I really thought that right before they revealed that it's Lacey that it was going to be Michael, because like there's that whole part.
I was very thrown by that. I was very, very thrown.
It's that last like you section right before you find out. It talks about like because it keeps saying he with a capital H and basically implying that it's like a father figure who like abused the person, and I was like, oh, Michael's like it was totally set up to make you think that, because Michael like has like kind of alluded to the fact that his father was not good to him and stuff. So I was like, oh no, because I liked Michael unlike Aaron, and I was like, no, it's gonna be Michael. So I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I felt the complete feeling of shock when Michael showed up. I was like, no, you wouldn't. I was like, no. I would have been so impressed, though, too, if it was him.
Yeah. I know. I was like, how could he have possibly done this? Like, but there was the whole, because, they talked about how, like, there had been bodies done in other states and then D.C., and I was like, well, he went out to Denver to get her. Like, he could have, like, done some murders while he was out there with his car. Like it was all, like, adding up in my brain, and I was like, oh, no. And then you turn the page, and it's not him.
Yeah. And it's just because I was so convinced at that point that it was Lacey. That's her name, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Lacey.
And so it was very, very alarming for it to not be her that shows up at the house first.
Yeah.
But the tension, so good. And I loved that whole storyline. The sister who left her, so her like motive is like trying to make people hers and stuff.
Yeah, it was really good. And yeah, it was like everything clicked into place and made sense once you knew that. Like the things she told her and their lessons and.
Yeah. I was kind of grateful too that she did a little recap of all the things she had said.
Yeah.
That would make you believe that.
Yeah, it was like.
Oh yes.
And yeah, like Erin was saying, sometimes the pacing felt weird, and like I remember as I was reading it, I was thinking like this is something, like, this whole story and, like, with her training and stuff, is something that could have been told over, like, at least half a season of a TV show, like a multi-episode arc. And to have it all in one book is, because, like, you don't get, I wanted more of her training. Like, you know, they would, like, go to the mall and they would start working on, like, a, like, conceptual phase, and then it would, like, cut away. And I was like, but I want to know!
Yeah.
I wanted, like, a whole, like, season of them, like, figuring things out and being trained and working on cases.
That's so funny. I just looked up, like, I'm just on our channel because I'm looking at the comments, but there's actually a Naturals book trailer, and I really want to watch it.
Really?
Can't right now.
I don't like book trailers. It'll make me not like the book if I watch it.
Well, it depends on the book trailer. Sometimes
I've never
books
found
will-
one I
okay.
like. Even
Really?
when people are like, ones that people are like, this one's great, you gotta watch it, and I'm still like, no.
Normally, I hate book trailers. The only book trailer I found that I loved was The School for Good and Evil. That actually made me buy
that
it.
one.
Really? I really liked it.
Yes,
What?
it always seems
Okay,
so
wait.
cheesy to me.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that was really good with the music and the actual like animated cartoons. Did you like the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children book trailer?
I haven't seen that one. I haven't read the book.
Oh,
yet.
I did like those.
I like
that
the
one
movie trailers.
was super. Well, if you look, there's like old book trailers, and they
Yeah.
are like movie trailers, though.
Yeah.
Because they're that well done.
Yeah.
So.
Like, it's one I
would
don't
never-
like them in general, but it's one thing
Yeah.
when like the publishing company does one or something. But I've also seen where like authors or they'll have like a friend who has video editing skills make one, and then I'm always just judging them like they're not good
Skills.
quality, and I'm
They're
like,
like,
just don't.
I would not make a trailer unless I had a lot of money to dedicate to making a trailer.
Yeah.
And
Like,
even then, I
make
feel
it-
like the money could be used better elsewhere.
That's
Exactly,
true.
yeah.
It's
And,
like
like-
if you have disposable income, then go for it. But
Yeah, I will say that at least The School for Good and Evil, that one, like, at least they did, like, an animated thing, because it really bugs me when they get, like, actors for it and stuff. Because I'm like, this isn't a movie, and I don't want you to put an actor in front of my face. You know, like, I want to visualize it, you know. So,
it's
I
far
don't want an
worse when
actor
they
in
just
front of my face unless you're actually making a movie.
yeah, it's far worse when they just steal like actual still photos from like Google and stuff, and then just put words over them.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I love it so much.
I am never going to make one of those.
Yeah.
But I have seen good book trailers, and I do want to watch this Naturals one. I'm curious. Actually, there was one for Anna Dressed in Blood that I thought was quite good, and that is just like graphics and then words and with music. But I thought that it was done.
I don't even think I've ever seen this many book trailers ever.
Really?
See, I just don't watch them very much
Same.
anyway, because I've watched a few of different varieties and didn't really like any of them, so I was like, I don't need these.
Oh, I
These are
find
not- these
it
are not for
fascinating
me.
for some reason. No, you're a Simon Cowell of book trailers,
Yeah.
clearly. No book trailers for you. So yeah, so there's 2 more books.
There's 2
more.
out now, and then
Oh.
book 4 is out in November. And so far, each of the
Okay.
books has been kind of about one of the 5 of them, so I'm wondering if there's a 5th. There's no word on it yet. So, like, the next one's Dean, and then the next one after that is Sloane, if I'm remembering it properly.
Ooh.
I really
Okay.
do like Sloane.
It is all still from What's-Her-Face's point of view, but it's focused around that character.
That's because I read the
Oh.
description of the 4th book, and it sounded like it was still about Cassie. Because it's about her mom.
At the end of the Sloane one, something kind of ties back to Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're stepping away from, because the second one's definitely very Dean-centric. Like it says right in the blurb that like there's a copycat of his father.
Because the description of the 4th one sounds like it's about Cassie again.
See, that sounds good. I need to get my
Yeah,
hands on the
I'm
second
excited
one.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And I really liked Sloane as a character, so I'm excited
Yeah.
for her too. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I like
it's
all of them
pretty-
in their little quirk. Like I could definitely see, like I said, the whole time I was reading this, I could just see it as a TV show, which I know like it's kind of based on Criminal
That's true.
Minds. But yeah, I could see them as like they're like the different character, like. And whenever there's a TV show with a team of characters, you have like each of those characteristics. Like
I would
the
love
one and
I would love a YA Criminal Minds, like a TV series. I would
Yeah.
definitely sign up for that. Yeah.
And like looking at the blurb for book 3, it doesn't mention the Sloane subplot, so there might be another one in the 4th one that's just not.
Yeah, it's possible.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, I've never been so torn on like book characters before. Normally I either sort of generally like the cast or I hate all of them. Whereas in this one was like 2 of them I really didn't like, and like the main character being one of them, and then like Sloane and Dean I really liked.
Sloane's
I didn't really
my
have any. Yeah, I really liked Sloane. I didn't really have any feelings on the adults in this book though, and not even like what's. See, Claire, I can't even remember her name, the one that ended up being
Lacey Locke.
person. Yeah, Lacey. Like, I just had no thoughts on her, aside from, like, her backstory was interesting, but before that, she just made no impression on me, which is maybe why I didn't see that coming as well, because to me, she was kind of flat. Like, she was just, like, the stock agent character.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is that the scenes where she's mentoring Cassie got, like, it was only like half a scene. Like we didn't get all of it, and so like I feel like we didn't get enough of the mentorship relationship. Like we could have had more of that. If the book had been
it would have been interesting to see their relationship developed even more, so that when like Cassie really feels betrayed, you understand.
Then she would have really felt betrayed. Yeah, that's why I felt like this book almost needed more time to unfold, and so it would be a longer book, but the pacing would even out more. But I don't know, maybe it was supposed to be shorter, but.
Yeah, I wonder though if it was longer, if more people would see the end coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also.
And you kill some of that tension as well, of like the quick pacing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, which one do I want more? The tension and being surprised, or characters?
And it's like putting like it would have been interesting to get more of the like training and mentoring parts, but that would have taken away from the serial killer part of the story. And so I think it actually might have made it feel slow if there had been more of that in that.
True. It wouldn't have been able to be very much more.
Yeah, because you're trying to think like how do you put more training in, but still make it plot oriented, so each scene is actually relevant. And I don't know.
Yeah.
True. Maybe they're even like, who knows, before like the story comes out, if the author had more and had to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see this being something where she had to cut it to like streamline it more.
It's definitely.
And I'm wondering, like, if it's planned as a 5-book series or even the 4, like that's a lot that you have to spread some stuff out over. So she didn't want to put too much in one.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah. I think I felt that chopping the most at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I lived with everything else, but at the beginning I was getting really frustrated with it, honestly. It
was like
why is this happening?
Once the kids started working on the serial killer case, I thought the pacing got better in general, and like I didn't have to like suspend my disbelief about things after that. But it was like the beginning that I like that could have been better.
And the main thing too that kept me going, like at the very beginning, the writing kind of bugged me a little bit. Like I just wasn't clicking with it. I think part of it was that it was first person past tense, which you don't read as much of.
It took me a while to realize it was. I don't pay attention to tense very well.
I don't either.
Sometimes I have to think about whether or not a book is in first or third person. I'm like, wait, what was this? But,
I knew something was bugging me. So.
Yeah, well, I knew that there was something because every time there would be a you passage, when I would go back to when I get to the next actual chapter, I would have like a problem for a second, and then I realized it's because the you was in present tense and the regular chapter was in past tense. So it threw me off every time they were after the you parts. So that's how I finally figured out.
That. I was gonna say I loved the you parts so much because they were so creepy and well written.
Oh, they were really good.
They kept me going at first.
They did take me a little while. Like the first 2, before I realized that this is like a thing you do. Like when they got to the part about profiling and then you say you, I was like, why is this saying you? Like, I thought it was like really weird and like.
I felt very disturbed reading it. I was like, I would not. I promise I would not.
I know. I almost felt like it was like at first I thought it was like I don't know like a weird like I don't even know. Not like shock value.
You're the serial killer.
Or like that it was supposed to like. Yeah, it was just to make you feel involved. Like it was like a device that she was, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like a thing. Like now. Obviously, I don't watch Criminal Minds. I watched one episode. That I actually like got home from work one day and just like turned on the TV and there was an episode on, and I was like, I'm gonna read The Natural soon. I'm gonna watch this. So I have watched one episode of Criminal Minds. And I liked it.
This book has maybe convinced me that I'm a little too paranoid to watch Criminal Minds.
Oh, yeah. If I watch too many episodes of Criminal Minds in one night, it'll be like, I've got to lock the doors. I'm on the balcony right now. Freaking out over everything, every small the house made.
Yeah. Well, I finished this book yesterday, but I started it on like Wednesday, I think, and then I didn't do any reading on Thursday and Friday because I was really busy. And so I had been reading it, and then Thursday I went shopping because I had the day off because it was my birthday, and so I went shopping, and like I was by myself, and so the whole time I was like, some serial killer could come for me. I was like keeping my phone in my hand and like looking out for creepy. I had to like go to like the mall bathroom, and I was like, this is a really creepy hallway.
I think I'm looking at the beginning of it again, and like what we said before, boys like this didn't usually eat in places like this. They didn't stare at girls like me. Like that annoyed me because I'm like, you're obviously attractive and everyone loves you. And then I was annoyed by I think I found it unrealistic how good she was at like, oh, this guy's gonna ask for more syrup. How can you possibly know that? Like I'm
You're not a natural, Erin, okay?
I didn't understand this much.
Yeah, I didn't really have much of a problem with that because I was like, she's obviously really gifted, and that's why she gets
the premise. If there's only 5 of these teenagers in America, I can believe it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, well, just some of it I can believe if, you know, like Sherlock, how he puts things together. Like, I understand the process of that. Maybe it's because there wasn't a lot of that process. Yeah. And she was just like, he's going to order fries. And I'm like, how the hell do you know that? He's clearly going to order extra pickles on the side. You know, I don't know. It was a tiny bit.
And I think it made it even more believable for me with her because, like, her mom taught her. Like, it wasn't even just like, I was born like this and can do everything. Like, obviously she has a natural talent for it, but also her mom trained her.
Yeah, I think it was mainly just that one scene, and the rest of it when she was like, oh, he's hiding something, or he's like angry, but he's trying to mask it. Then I was like, yeah, if you can read emotions and you can read someone like that by looking at their clothes and like, I totally understand that. It was just like he's gonna put the pickles on the side that annoyed me because I was like, there's no way you can know that from like just looking at his face. The rest of it, I would think I was fine with. It was just things at the start that irritated me.
I really liked the parts where you saw them, like, she'd make the decision, like, oh, this is a girl in grad school shopping, and then you'd see them backtrack and figure out why she thought it. I thought that
part
was really
of the mall. That was very. See, I
wanted
had
more of them for sure.
Me too. And see, when they went to the mall and she was backtracking and saying why she believes that, I didn't mind that.
So if she could have given you a reason for a pickle, like the pickle thing, you would have felt a lot better.
Maybe.
See, I don't think she says something like, oh, she says the guy has jalapenos on the side, like he's already ordered that, and she like says why he did it and that she knows he's not actually going to eat them. I don't think she actually says that. The only person she says what they're going to get, I think, is
the eggs.
But the butter. No, she's like, this guy's going to ask for butter or something.
Oh, she's like, he's going to ask for extra butter. Yeah.
And which I'm like, how can you possibly know that? You see him, and he looks like his cholesterol's high. He clearly eats a lot of butter. Like,
yeah, because she doesn't explain the extra butter. She explains the water for the jalapenos,
which is fine.
She's like, he's gonna need an extra glass of water because he doesn't actually like jalapenos. So I'm sure there's like a reason for the butter. She just doesn't say what it is.
I think probably that. Like, that's incredibly nitpicky, but I was already irritated with her voice already at that point, so I think I was extra.
Yeah. I know. Also, see if she'd given every reason, I can see an editor being like, some readers aren't going to care. Take some of these out.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't. Okay, I know there's a specific line that made me not like her voice at the beginning, and now I can't find it. I know it's in, like, the first chapter. Anyway, she says something in her head, like, in her internal dialogue, and then she's like, whoa, keep it PG, Cassie. And I was like,
I hate it.
She says, like, a swear word or something in her head, and she's like, keep it PG. And then she explains to the readers, like, I don't swear much. And I was like, okay.
Thank you, Cassie. I hated that she sometimes talked aloud to herself. I didn't like it. That was another thing I had to suspend my disbelief about. I was like, you are just saying this for me right now.
And you could just be thinking it for me instead. So.
I found it. She doesn't even say the bad word she's talking about either. So she's talking about the breakfast burrito jalapeno guy, and she's like, Mr. Breakfast Burrito just didn't want people to think he was a wuss. Only the word he would have used wasn't wuss. Whoa there, Cassie, I told myself sternly, keep it PG.
Yeah.
And she's like, as a general rule, I didn't curse much. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like, who sits there thinking to themselves, like, I don't curse very much.
I don't know. It was just something about the voice that, even, like, from the get-go, the first chapter, like, Ceslava, insert foreign language cliche of your choice here. I was like, that's annoying to me.
The like first couple chapters, there was too much talking to herself and talking to the reader.
Maybe that was why.
It went away once the actual story picked up.
Yeah.
In the beginning, she was trying to like give her a voice, and it was like a little too much.
It was too voicey.
It was too much voicey.
It was annoying. But like once I got into it, I was taken. The story took hold of me, and it I didn't even notice anymore that I was annoyed by the character. I still don't like her character, but obviously it's not that big of a deal because I'm still gonna buy book 2 and 3. So
I think she kind of is one of those characters that's kind of like sometimes you get books where the character isn't very like she doesn't have a very strong personality, and I think she's kind of one of those characters that's kind of you can project yourself onto her more.
That's true. Yeah,
I definitely got that vibe with her that she was kind of the character that like the reader could see themselves.
So she's a bit of a Bella Swan, would you say?
Except for less passive. Like she's not really taking action and everything.
Fair point.
She just isn't like, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like I didn't think she was a really like passive character.
No.
But she just doesn't have she doesn't have very strong characterizations.
Yeah. You don't think of, when you think of the book, you don't think of the main character and think, I would want to be friends with her. You would insert yourself in her position and be friends with all of her friends and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You want to be her, not be friends with her.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Megan skipped for a minute. So
for a really long time.
Double yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But yeah, totally. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like after I finished being annoyed by the first chapter, I was fine with her character.
Yeah. I think there's like a place for that. Like some books are like that where you can place yourself into the character. And there's other books like you compare it with our last book club with the Raven Boys, like I'd want to be a part of it. I don't want to be one of them.
Yeah,
I want to
be friends with Blue. Yeah. I would never picture myself as Blue because she's so distinct that I know that she's nothing like me, but I want to be an extra in the gang and be friends with Blue.
And she's so distinct and great that I don't want to be her, I want to know her, but
exactly.
Yeah. And I think there's room for both kinds of characters.
Especially
in the literary world.
Like the naturals, the like tension and immediacy and like feeling like you are in danger is way more valuable than feeling like you want to be best with someone.
Yeah.
Exactly. I guess it's very much a plot book.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's more. It is. It is about the characters as well, but mainly what drives you is the plot, which is why I'm going to continue to read them because I'm so interested in the plot and everything about the serial killers. And I found that there wasn't as much about the serial killers, like people's MO and like their signature and stuff. And I'm hoping there'll be more in books 2 and 3, which it sounds like there will be because they're going to be talking about his dad and stuff. So very interesting.
The series stays very murder-based, like no question.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
And now I want you guys to like message whenever you like, not if someone else hasn't finished it, but I want to hear all of your thoughts on like, even though I can't remember who did what or anything in for any of the books, but
it'll be a good recap for you.
As well.
Really good job of making like feel like they were in danger, but then it played into it really intensely because of the picture of her at the back, which is like a really good picture in any other situation, but it seems very terrifying to me about serial killers.
My book doesn't have that picture.
Oh no, neither does mine.
The paperback has this picture.
Oh, yeah, the paperback has it. Hold yours closer.
I think part of the experience.
This is like the I may have killed a man picture.
Oh. I don't know. It kind of works for the book, though, doesn't it?
It does, but it was terrifying seeing her peeking through the back at me. Stop it.
That's awesome. If I wrote a serial killer book, I would totally give the camera that look.
Yeah.
Can you make it a little more murderous?
And like, while I had issues with like the pacing of Cassie's story, I thought the pacing of like the mystery and the serial killer story was perfect. Like the clues were dropped at the perfect times, and like the you passages were spaced out perfectly. You got like a little bit each time.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, I want to know.
Not too much, not too little.
I'm like, why did they take the lipstick?
The you passages were so disturbing. Like I was on the bus reading it, kind of like looking around, like hopefully no one's reading over my shoulder.
Yeah. Well,
really
the scene when she gets the first box with the lock of hair was so creepy.
Yes.
Like the second one that's like, wouldn't it look better red because it's a blonde piece of hair? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was really well done.
Yeah.
Super creepy.
So good.
Wow. What a book. We're all just thinking about the creepy.
Yeah. It's funny.
And here's like such a good example of all the things she taught too. Like her MO changes in the U sections, but like the signature is always the same and stuff. So I felt a little like I was a detective.
Yeah. I was like, I get what's happening here.
Yay, books.
Yay, books.
It's just so weird for me to be like so conflicted about a book, like having so many. I don't know, because normally either hate it or love it, or I'm just kind of meh about it. Whereas there was parts of this I really loved, and then parts of this that really annoyed me. So I'm love-hate relationship, I guess. But you know, I always feel like, you know, the author still did a good job if I'm hooked enough to continue reading it, right?
Yeah. So, I feel like this is the book that I've been. It's like, how do I describe this? It's the book that I've like disliked the most, where I still plan on reading the next book. Like I had so many issues with it that I don't think I've ever had this many issues with any other book, but still desperately wanted to read the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is funny because it tells you kind of like, there's probably a big amount of problems with the characters and some of the believability of the, you know, story on the surface, but the plot is, obviously the author's done a really good job at telling the actual story and hooking you in. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of like, you know, the problems with, like, say, for example, Twilight, which is nothing like this book, but it's the same general idea where there's so many problems with not the writing for this book. I found the writing was good for this book. But with Twilight, there's problems with the writing, there's problems with the characters, but the story was so captivating for people that even I read the whole thing back to back when it first came out. Because the actual story was great. And there's a difference sometimes with writers. Some are natural storytellers, and then others are, like, in the more technical term of writers, are better writers. And this was, I found the writing was good with this one, even though I didn't like the voice of the actual character. But the natural storytelling, I think, is what makes it so, like, I need the next one, you know?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. How did you guys find the writing? Did you like it, or?
Yeah, it was good. It was nothing that I'm like, oh, this is beautiful writing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like at the very beginning, a lot of people snorted, and I didn't like that. I don't feel like people actually snort in real life when they think something is funny. So
no.
I didn't understand why so many people were doing it.
That's funny. I totally didn't notice that.
Yeah, you will always be like my like repetitive word because you notice that so well. You're like, this character does this so much.
I didn't notice that at all. That's something I'm actually super guilty of. That's something I'm super guilty of in my own writing, is having characters snort. So I'm clearly gonna have to send myself to Megan.
Like if it's one time, then I don't mind and I don't really notice. But it happened 2 or 3 times just at the beginning, and I was already feeling kind of pessimistic at the beginning. So
like this was the kind of book where I was like, I just didn't pay attention to the writing. Like I could not tell you if it was good or like it definitely wasn't bad enough to distract me.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't good enough to distract me. Like there have been books where I, like there are some books that I love the writing so much that like it takes me a while to get through a paragraph because I just want to keep rereading it, you know. But this is just like I just read through. I feel like it was just very like general writing, you know.
Yeah, which I actually think is one of the almost one of the marks of somebody who's more of a natural storyteller, because if you don't even notice the writing because you're captivated by the story, and I feel like some of the more popular books, like I hate to keep going back to the Twilight thing, but I feel like that was there too, and that the writing was more a basic level, but you didn't even notice it because the story was so strong, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This was similar, although I felt the writing was like pretty decent in this one, and it didn't, because I can tell that there's a big difference between the character's voice and then the actual writing. I didn't mind the writing, I didn't like the character's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was, like you said, more evident in chapter 1, and then kind of chilled out a little bit as.
Yeah, once she was gone, I didn't notice the writing ever again.
Yeah.
No.
Once she was in the program, I don't remember
it was basically
being frustrated by the writing.
It was basically just when she was introducing herself to the reader, because it really felt like she was introducing herself to the reader. Like I think that was the problem.
That's true.
And once that was over, then it wasn't a problem anymore.
I wonder if it will be different with book 2 and 3, because there won't be that, because we already know the character. If it'll just go straight into being an awesome story, you know.
That's what I'm hoping.
I'm super curious now. I really want to.
This isn't one of those books that book 2 like reminds you of everything about it. I could see.
Now that I remember it, I actually read them like back to back one day, then the next for book 1 and 2. So I have no recollection of what happens in book 2.
It'd be interesting because I could see this being the kind of book where, like in the first chapter, she's like, I work for this like part of the FBI, and last month I found out that my aunt was trying to kill me, and like I could see it. I read something recently that did that. I can't, but it was like an older book back when that was more acceptable to do. I don't remember what it was now.
I think even some more modern authors do that. Like I swear, Cassandra Clare did that in one of her.
She did it in City of Heavenly Fire a lot, which I appreciated because I hadn't read
you couldn't remember. I appreciated it in that. Yeah.
I need that. I don't know what the heck happened for the last couple of books. Like, please do recap. I'm confused.
Oh, it was. I know what it was. It was another book Kelly recommended. It was the second Vampire Academy book. She's like, this is who I am, and last year my best friend's uncle tried to kill her. Like,
I remember that.
I don't mind that actually if it's like pretty short. If it goes into
be really short.
detail. Yeah. It's annoying if it's like 3 pages long.
But I also
like
think. I think most authors have realized it's not, and like publishers have realized it's not necessary. Like I think there was a time when people are like, oh, we need to remind them of what happened, you know, or like what if they didn't read the first book? Like no one does that. Everyone reads
no one does that. Yeah. But I think maybe it's become a little different with shorter publishing times. Like I know that for most traditional publishing it's still 2 years, but for some of the smaller presses and indie presses, it can be like a year between books, or sometimes even 6 months. So we don't.
Well, even with traditional publishing, it's typically a year between.
Yeah, a year's pretty standard.
Books in a series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In a series. Yeah, my bad. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But so interesting. It could also be the voice of the actual voice of the character. Like that type of thing can really fit in with a certain type of voice and then not work for a different type of voice. I can see Vampire Diaries it working for that. I just started watching the show and one episode in.
Vampire Academy, not Diaries.
Oh no, I meant Academy. I didn't like Vampire Diaries. I really don't like that show. I started watching the Academy one. Seems to be okay so far.
There's a TV
show?
show?
Know.
Yeah, I thought there was just the movie. The really bad.
I swear
I don't think
there's
a TV
Vampire. Show. Really? Because there's something on Netflix that's Vampire something. I swear it's Academy.
They have a movie.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, maybe it is a movie. What am I thinking of? I don't know. Maybe it's the movie then. I'm confused.
I'm very interested to see where they go with her mother. Like for a hot second, I was like, is her mother the serial killer? Like, did she stage her own death and then go start killing people who looked like her?
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna turn out that her mom's not really dead because like the body was never found and stuff. Yeah, I feel like it was setting it up.
Yeah, it's
for her
hard
mom
not to think that whenever the body's not found. Especially if they point out that the body's not found. It's
like, oh really? Was it never found?
And like multiple times they pointed out that the body was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think about that.
Yeah.
So, but I liked the twist that Lacey wasn't actually the person who killed the mom.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't either. That was like a twist within a twist.
Yeah.
So twisted.
Yeah, I figured from very early on that her mom wasn't really dead, and that this serial killer didn't kill her mom, and that like at the end of the series we'd find out her mom was alive. Because I think, while I haven't watched Criminal Minds, I have watched a decent number of like crime TV shows, and I feel like that's something that happens a lot, where like it starts off with like a main character, something bad has happened, and then like later on in the show, like episodes or seasons later, you find out there was some conspiracy and the thing didn't actually happen. Like, so I just like assumed, I was like, yeah, we're gonna find out her mom's not dead in like the third or fourth book or something.
Probably. Pretty much. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. See, a lot of it, like, she must have done like a fair amount of research because she uses like the correct terms like MO and unsub and stuff.
Yeah.
Would you guys use? Okay, so Dean uses I when he's talking about the serial killer. Would you guys use I, or what else did you use?
You.
She uses you.
You. Would you use you or I if you were talking about it?
I need to think about it.
I love that was a character distinction, though. I thought that was really
Yeah. So she was like, I'm not going to say I because it creeps me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably do it. See, what was weird about the way Dean did it is he would just launch into it, and so every time he would do it, it would throw me off because I think he was talking about himself, and I would be like, what is he talking about? Like, one where he said something he said, I didn't realize he was talking about the killer. Like, he didn't say something about killing. He said, I don't remember. Like
it's a game.
He was like,
it is a game.
He was like, I'm changing and evolving, and I was like, what is he talking about? And I was like, I'm talking about the killer. But I noticed that other people, like when Briggs would do it, he would start with, I'm the killer, and then he'd go like, I'm the killer, I've gotten bored with this. Like, so I would do that. But the way Dean did it always threw me off, because I was like, what are you doing? I'm confused.
Yeah.
I, for some reason, had like an easier time distancing myself from the I than I did from the you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I've written enough first-person stories that
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind saying I don't think.
Well,
maybe
I think
because of writing stories.
It would weird me out with the you. I feel like I would feel like I was talking to the killer. Like, I don't want to talk to the killer. Like,
oh yeah, that's
you know, like I just be like, if I'm the killer, I'm doing this. You know, like this is what I'm thinking, which it makes more sense to me. I think like it would just be more natural for me to say that.
But well, especially if you're trying to get into his or her head.
Yeah.
I was reading in one review, and so I was trying to research and find if it was true. But I was reading a couple of the reviews said that unsub isn't something that people actually say, that it's only said on TV, which I was very curious about.
I was glad that they said what unsub was, because I watched one random episode of Criminal Minds and they kept saying unsub, and I was like, what are they talking about? I was like, what does that mean? And then I read this and I was like, oh, now I know. Thanks, Naturals. The show makes more sense. Because I didn't watch the first episode of Criminal Minds. I watched like a random one. They were in France. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think that she would do some research aside from watching a crap ton of Criminal Minds.
Now, see, I'm researching it now, and it says, like, police myths, the problem with cop shows. If I ever hear somebody say unsub for real, I'm liable to kill them. And so,
okay.
Okay. This author just watches a lot of TV because she has another series that's basically Scandal, but YA.
Yeah.
So.
Oh.
Yeah. She does have like a PhD in psychology, which is really interesting to me.
She probably knows.
So she definitely knows serial killers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it may be the type of thing where enough TV shows have used it, and now just everyone uses it because viewers know what it means.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
the people who watch those shows know what it means. So you might as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to market this across YA just to Criminal Minds fans as well. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Totally.
on the cover of mine,
Yeah.
it has a blurb about how it's Criminal Minds for young adults.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like I definitely love Criminal Minds, and that's what attracted me to it. So
Yeah.
I was pretty crushed to find out that there was no such thing as like the department that is in Criminal Minds, like that doesn't exist within the FBI. Like, why not?
No, because they secretly have teenagers doing it behind the scenes.
Obviously.
Of course.
It's kind of like I watched House as a teenager, and then I found out that you can't really be like whatever it is he is. He just like diagnoses people. Yeah,
whatever.
It's not a real
What?
thing.
There's no teams of people that do this? What the
To
hell?
just diagnose weird cases.
That's what's wrong with medicine.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
No,
I
I was
think
really
it's such
crushed
a good
because I wanted to do that.
Yeah. I think it's such a good hook too that like it's very easy to word of mouth tell people they would like it. Like I have family members who like Criminal Minds, so I was like, this book was creepy and Criminal Minds-ish. You should read it.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a very high concept marketable book, definitely.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Because my supervisor is a Criminal Minds fan, and I was like, hey, there's a YA book that's like Criminal Minds. You should read it.
It is a good hook. Hey, that's maybe just what I should do in the future is just rewrite TV shows as YA. I like this idea.
I'd read the crap out of a lot of those. So.
Yeah,
Awesome. A lot of people would.
Actually, a pretty good idea.
Yeah. I would love even if she just did like a serialization of just these guys doing the practice ones.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
I
kind of wish that this was serialized instead of just like a 4-book series, because I would totally pick them up. Like, it would be the type of thing that when I, just needed to grab something to read, I'd grab it,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But YA doesn't serialize, so.
Yet.
Not traditionally.
Traditionally, yeah.
Not
The
yet.
self-published people have to start it, and they are starting it.
Yeah.
But they just got to get really big at it, and then the traditional publishing will follow like 3 years later.
Oh.
So
They do that right now with just, they're little kids' chapter books, but that's essentially what it is.
Like, children's and adult do it, but just YA doesn't really do it much.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Yeah, I have them all. Where I work in the kids section, there's just like an entire wall of the little tiny skinny chapter books. Over here somewhere. And I just love going through them because they all have such cool, colorful covers, and they're like that big. I mean, at that age, just like 7 or 8 years old, I would have read through them in probably like a day, and then read the whole series in a week. And then I'd be like, Mom, can you buy me this whole series and spend like I don't know, like $100 and something bucks?
Yeah. I love the box.
I remember as a kid, like going to the library and stuff, and coming out with like this weird conglomerate stack of Goosebumps and Babysitter's Club, just like all mixed together.
Yep. I wasn't allowed reading Goosebumps, but I read the Babysitter's Club.
So I wasn't allowed to read the Babysitter's Club. They were too grown up.
Really? Oh my gosh. Really?
They're off like dating and kissing boys, and
I
don't know what else.
That was my series at that age.
Yes, me too.
I also
My mom would read Babysitter's Little Sister.
And she was the one I thought of the like recapping at every book, because every chapter 2 was a recap of her entire life, basically.
I think I read some of those, but not many, because the girls in the club did annoy me. I think I was more like a Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys.
Oh, I love
Nancy
Drew.
See, I was big into the Boxcar Children. I was all about that.
Yeah.
Solving their mysteries.
I read a bunch of those.
Their grandpa.
This would be a fun one too. Just things we read as kids.
Yeah. Oh, and I was a huge Enid Blyton fan, so all of her like famous 5 books and like the adventure series and like all of those.
Not read those.
I
don't either.
Aaron is always the one that will just like pull out this random author I've never heard of. Like, this author was my life. I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Enid Blyton's a British classic. The woman is legend. Dang it, you guys. I will force you to read them someday. That's probably why I write the way I do for middle grade. It's because that's all I read when I was a kid, is like British children's books. I was obsessed with them. I wanted to be all the characters. I remember there was one that was like a tomboy, and I wanted to like cut my hair really short because she was all cool and she pretended to be a boy. I was discouraged from doing that though.
I was gonna say one thing that I think can make serialization hard in YA, and maybe part of the reason it doesn't happen a lot, is that if you're serializing and you keep going, the characters are going to grow up and they won't be teenagers anymore. And then what do you do?
That's true.
I think it's that the problem.
Then the series ends.
Yeah, exactly. And a part of me, well, there are certain things I'd maybe enjoy to see serialized. As like in general, it's not something that I'm super into for books. Like I like TV shows. But I also feel like sometimes, like, I don't know, it's like, I always think of, like, adult mystery novels that are serialized. Like, I feel like it just gets really repetitive. And
that's true.
YA has so much creativity in it, I think, that's sometimes missing in, like, adult fiction. And so I would be sad to see, like, YA go that way, I guess.
Yeah. It's probably really why we talked about how this one is so much like a TV show. That's probably why we would like serialization.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
I like knowing where the end point is. Like, as much as I love TV, sometimes it bothers me that I don't know when it's going to end. And I don't know if the show is going to get really bad before it ends.
Oh, yeah.
Supernatural.
Get really bad before they end.
Looking at you.
I was just about to say, you never know when they should have stopped at season 5 and they keep going.
So I kind of like, there's this many books and that's it. And I'm like, thank you.
That actually
they have like a plan. They have a plan for it. Yeah.
That actually does happen with adult fiction, though. Like the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time series, he's like, there were so many books, and they're so thick that he started recycling all of his plot lines, which I feel like also happens in TV shows. And
he died before he could finish the story.
Yeah. Well, that's the issue when you're serializing, and all of your books are the size of a Bible.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like ended up recycling all of these plot points, and like I'm just, when I was halfway through the series, I'm like, this all feels so familiar because I'm reading them essentially back to back.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was years between them for him, but for me it was like we just did the same situation, different character.
So I feel like I'd like to see some serialization in YA for like something like this that would fit well with that format, but I don't want to see it become the trend that everything is done that way. I can't keep up with that many long series. That's the other problem. I can't keep up with all that. Like, it's too long.
It would work well for this because it would be like new case, new story, and it would be the same with like.
Well, even that. If they have to solve a murder every time, that's becoming like a lot to put in just like a serial size thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But that's what Criminal Minds does. It would have to be like.
It couldn't be a big murder. It couldn't be a big case like this every time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you can do like TV does. It's just like a montage of scenes and then like.
Criminal Minds does it every week, but in 42 minutes, whereas you're asking someone to read an individual case for a few hours every week would be.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Well, it definitely couldn't be like a weekly thing. They couldn't do that often.
Oh, no. You might be able to do it with something that was like a book based on like a YA version of Supernatural or something, if there's like a new mythological creature to slay every day.
Yeah. You might have to do something that fits well. Because that's something that is sometimes a problem in TV, is that it's a story that doesn't fit well in serialization. And I can see if serialization became really big in YA, there would be stories that didn't need to be told that way that would be told that way, where they would be stretched out too long.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I felt like Heroes was really cool for, like, the first 2 seasons, and then it just kept going, and it was like, no, it should just be, like, a short
You saved the cheerleader. The world is fine.
We're done now. Can we be done now? It was the same as Lost. I felt like they would just unfolded it, and
we will always disagree.
We will always disagree on that.
I will never disparage Lost.
I do not know how you were satisfied with that ending.
See, the thing for Lost for me is that Lost did set an endpoint for itself. They were like 6 seasons and we're done. They weren't like, we're just going to keep going and keep going. Like, they had an endpoint for themselves, which I really respect.
I super felt like they did not know where they were going at the end.
I love the ending. I think the ending was just for that show.
No.
I love it.
It's like, and then she woke up, and it was all a dream.
No,
they weren't all dead the whole time.
They are not dead the entire time.
Yeah.
We feel so passionately.
Yeah. So many people
Disagree.
think that they were all dead the whole time. They weren't. They were alive. They didn't die.
Oh no, I know they were. I still think it's a major cop out for the end, though. Even if they weren't. Anyways, moving on. We'll have a slap fight over this later.
This is our fight. Subject so we can talk about
it.
Oh my gosh.
We've been at this for about an hour, and I'm sure people have Game of Thrones to watch shortly.
Yeah, right. Do we have any final thoughts on the book and its characters and its story, and any final last words?
Yeah, definitely read it.
It made for a good chat. There was like lots to discuss.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
And I think it's definitely a good
sounds like we will. Go ahead.
It's definitely a good, like, you know, like summer breaks coming up. It's good, like a good summer break book to read because it's quick and it's fun.
And because you'll be in your house all the time, so someone could sneak in and murder you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good fast-paced book. Like, I would take it to the beach or whatever and sit down and read, and could read in a couple sittings.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I take it like on an airplane and think I was going to get killed
exactly.
But, yeah.
And it sounds like all of us will be reading book 2 and 3. Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We definitely recommend this book series as something that you should go out and read. Do we have a chat subject for next week, or is that to be announced later?
Things. Talking about things.
We'll talk about things. We'll talk about stuff.
I just saw someone commented in the beginning of their comment is Game of Thrones starts soon.
Okay. Well, we'll let you go so you can watch Game of Thrones. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for
topic.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And we will see you next week and throughout the week with our awesome videos. If you have not subscribed, please do, and we will love you forever. Bye. Bye.